Good afternoon. We're coming here from the Oak and Barrel in Monticello, Indiana. We are here today with Racing Today with Andy McVay. We're sponsored by Woodford Reserve, and we're here to evaluate 7 horses. Each of my experts to my left and to my right are going to evaluate 7 horses for the 2025 Kentucky Derby, which has a $5 million purse. I'd like to start off with Andy. Can you say a few opening words about the Kentucky Derby?
Thank you, Paul, and thanks for being here. It's good to be with both of you here today. I would offer that this is a very exciting race, maybe more so than we've had in a while. And before I go any further, Paul, I'm not really an expert. I'm an enthusiast, and I'll take that flattery that you're offering naturally. But I would say that this is a very exciting race for 2 reasons. We have horses that go very fast early, and we have horses that come late with a real charge. And so as we talk about these, Travis and I talk about our top 7 horses, we'll share our thoughts with how that blends. And I would also say that if you're watching the 151st Kentucky Derby on NBC on Saturday night, that you pay close attention to what the announcer says is the time at the half mile, or it's posted in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. If it's 45 and change or less, those horses aren't going to win the race. History shows that we have had a lot of horses in recent years that have gone out really fast and they don't make the money. They don't. But if this race is 47 or higher at the half, I highly doubt that. Those horses leading the race are going to contend. But the race will be won at the top of the stretch when one of these horses decides in the jockey that they can hit the go button at the right time to cross the wire first.
Thank you, Andy. Travis, you have some opening thoughts?
I do. I am definitely not an expert. I'm a hog farmer that loves pedigreed animals, I guess, to research back and study the history and the future of what these things can be when we go and bring them on. So studying pedigrees has been important to me in analyzing these animals. So I really like that part of it. But what I think is neat is the Bob Baffert Redemption Tour. Bob's back, had quite a stable of them to begin with, but he's back now with 2 that are running in this race. He served his suspension, whether it was right or wrong or whatever, from the Medina Spirit situation. He's back. He said that he feels like he's never left. So he's saying all the right things and not holding grudges apparently, and that's a good situation there. So and as you spoke on pace, both of his horses are speed horses. They're going to go for the lead there, and it's going to be fun to see how that plays out amongst his 2 that are inward placed to begin with. They're starting on post 1 and post 4, so that ought to be awfully exciting to see how he gets his jockeys to manage that part of it, coming out and hopefully not taking each other out. So yes, so excited about that part of it.
So what our 2 enthusiasts are going to talk about 7 horses that they feel like have a great chance of winning the 2025 Kentucky Derby. You want to start, Travis?
My 7th horse is Grande, sired by Curlin, back on a journey home there. Todd Pletcher, Mike Velasquez is the jockey on there, and the owner is Mike Rapoli. If you've watched the Netflix show Race for the Crown, Mike is widely cussed and discussed upon that. He's really after it again. It's kind of neat to watch that show and see the personalities of all of these people when we aren't there to see this, and we're seeing the back part of it all the way through. So this is a lightly raced Curlin horse. So what's your thoughts?
Well, it turns out, first of all, Travis and I did not collaborate, but we have our top 7. Interestingly enough, it looks like our number 7 horse is the same horse, number 10, Grande. Before I talk about him, I want to say quickly that number 21, Baeza, if he draws in, he's what we call an also eligible. 20 horses in the field, post positions drew Saturday night. If anybody scratches, he comes in. If he comes in, I will include him in my top 7, and one of these will probably exit. It could be Grande, I'm not sure who at this time. Grande, as Travis said, he's a Curlin son, and he's out of a Warfront mare. He's lightly raced. He's had 3 races. In recent years, we've had a lot of better horses performing that were lightly raced. Mage had 4 starts in the 22 Kentucky Derby and won, and Justify had 4 starts in the 18 Kentucky Derby as he ran his 4th race, both of them. So these things can happen. And so I like this horse. I will say the thing that keeps me from moving him higher is Todd Pletcher is the master at getting horses into the Kentucky Derby with a record 66 entries from his stable over his career. He's had 2 winners. So I have him in 7th. He could make some noise.
Not a high win percentage, but definitely he gets them in.
Yes, he does.
If his owners say we want to go, he's going.
You bet.
Yes.
Oh, Travis, do you want to
Number
hit your
6 for me is Final Gambit, sired by Not This Time, coming out of post 3. So this one's going to be coming. This is actually one that comes late. So he's going to be in that position. I think that's going to be hard to handle from all of these horses wanting to come down inside. And so he's going to pull back, I'm sure, to avoid the problems. And he is a strong closer, trained by Brad Cox, which I'm a big fan of Brad Cox. And I think he's got some of the strongest figures closing out, coming in. In his last races, his last closing figures have been incredible. So we'll see how all of this, the crowd of 20 horses, works on all of these.
Andy, do you want to talk about your?
My number 6 horse is American Promise, trained by D. Wayne Lucas. This horse ran in the middle of March in the Virginia Derby, or late March, and won. He's sired by Justify, the 2018 Triple Crown winner. We have 3 horses in the race that are sired by Triple Crown winners. Publisher, and also Luxor Cafe, horse number 7, which we may hear from a little bit more later. But I like American Promise because he's an early speed horse and he's trained by D. Wayne Lucas, and I like his pedigree. Other than that, he's probably going to be 25 to 1. But D. Wayne Lucas is sneaky good when he's 20 to 1 or 15 to 1. And the old master of Churchill Downs, I'm including this horse in my top 7.
And isn't he the biggest horse?
I think he's huge.
He is huge.
And he's worked really well in
Stride looks
training.
incredible out there.
That's what I'm hearing.
My concern is that big stride in a jammed up field.
Yeah,
It ought to be interesting to
It
see,
will be
but there is
interesting.
no better than the coach.
Yeah, and
For
coming
sure.
out of, he's coming out of hole number 6, so he's inside, but not too far inside.
Yep. My number 5, Rodriguez, coming out of post 4. There, sired by Authentic. I am a big fan of Into Mischief, and he is actually the sire of Authentic. And Authentic was the first, the latest one to be a front to wire the field. I mean, he went straight to the front and he didn't let up. Authentic was trained by Bob Baffert. Rodriguez trained by Bob Baffert. Ridden by Big Money, Mike Smith. I think that part will be very, very good. He won the Wood in his last race there. So I think that he's a front runner. He's going for it. I mean, they're going to send him, and it'll just see how they all play out through there. So.
Nice. Hey, Andy, before you mentioned the post position, which starting post position has never won the Derby?
Well, I think that's number 17, and we may hear more about that as we move along here. My 5th place horse happens to be Rodriguez also. And the only thing I can really add is that 2 things. they instructed him in his February and January races to what we say rate. They told the jockey not to go for the lead. And in those races, with a very small crowd at Santa Anita Park, he was kind of excited, kind of goofy, all right? And so there's only going to be about 185,000 people at Churchill Downs on Saturday watching him yelling for the Kentucky Derby. So Bob Baffert, being a great trainer, sent him to New York to the Wood Memorial, where he told the jockey, told Mike Smith, run it, let him run. Guess what? He wired the field and performed at the best time that we've had out of the Wood Memorial in decades. The Wood Memorial has not produced a Kentucky Derby winner since Fujisegi Pegasus, I'm not pronouncing that right, in 2000. So it's been a while. A winner of the Wood went on to win the Kentucky Derby. I don't have much else to offer on him other than, as Travis said, he's sired by a Derby winner that's an Into Mischief son. I would offer one bit of tidbit on Into Mischief. He sired 2 Derby winners. Guess what? He's got 2 entrants in the 151st running on Saturday. And if he gets his 3rd, that'll be the first time and only time in the history of the Derby that a stallion sires 3 Derby winners. That sire that did that stallion, was at Calumet Farms in the 40s, and his name was Bull Lee.
Do you think it's different that he sent that horse to the Wood? Is Big Bob doing this to keep these horses apart?
I appreciate you bringing that up.
With his other favorites.
He was keeping them apart, and at the same time, he wanted a quiet crowd for him. The Wood Memorial, there's not 5,000 people there, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And so he wanted a quiet crowd for him, to let him run the way he wanted to run, to prepare him for this, because he acted kind of bad in his previous starts. I'm talking about getting excited in the paddock, jumping around, maybe foaming up a bit. Those are things to look for in the paddock. Usually not a good sign.
No, we've had him buck them off before.
Oh, we have. 1,000 words a few years ago.
Yes, an unfortunate situation there, yes. Okay, now we're up to number 4. My number 4, the Japanese horse, Luxor Cafe, sired by American Pharaoh. Coming out of post 7, the horse was bred in Kentucky, I believe. That horse was bred in Kentucky, but he's won 4 straight, has looked incredible out there. It's very hard with these Japanese horses to get their speed figures according to, they're not racing against any of these other horses. So to me, that makes it very different to see. You know, he's raced in bigger fields too. So I think that's a big help for that horse.
Yeah,
coming out of bigger fields versus the California horses
right,
with 5 or 6 in each one of those fields. So to me, this one comes out of bigger fields. His time speeds that they've given him rate very, very, very well with that. So, and I think it's just a matter of time before the Japanese do win a Derby.
That's right.
There. So whether this one is the one, last year they really had the horse. He ends up 3rd by 2 noses, beat out by a nose for 2nd and a nose between those. So incredible with that. But as you said, he's sired by American Pharaoh. This is 10 years.
Is that right?
10 years since Pharaoh won
Okay.
the Derby. So he's back. Got a very good chance with this horse too. So Luxor Cafe out of post 7.
So we're ready for number 4?
Number 4.
Yes.
Okay, I did forget to mention on Rodriguez, and maybe there'll be some talk about Citizen Bowl before we're done, but Baffert has 2 horses in this race. Citizen Bowl in number 1, he was the juvenile champion, and Rodriguez is number 4. Don't sleep on those 2 if you're wagering. A good exacta box is going to be the 2 of them with the Derby favorite journalism. Don't sleep on them. So I wanted to say that. My number 4 horse is Final Gambit. Travis already talked about him. The last 3 Kentucky Derbies, the winner has snuck up the rail late and won the Derby at odds in the teens and paid good money. I think Final Gambit is a candidate to do just that as a closing type horse. His limitation is he's only raced on grass or synthetic surfaces. He's never raced on dirt. However, he's trained extremely well at Churchill Downs and had 3 really good workouts over the dirt. Again, trained by Brad Cox. And you know, in the last 3 years, we had Rich Strike run up the rail. We had Mage run up the rail. And last year, Mystic Dan ran up the rail. I think Final Gambit, as Travis mentioned, his last eighth of a mile speed rating is 10 points higher than anybody else in the race.
Yes.
And so, hey, 15, 20 to 1, I'm certainly going to have a lot of action on Final Gambit as my fourth choice.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get your third choice.
Number 3 is going to be the most money bet on journalism. Sired by Curlin, coming out of Post 8. Mike McCarthy trains it. $825,000 purchased horse. There, so an expensive one. Won 4 in a row. I love this horse. I really do. I just am concerned about the trip. It seems like all these favorites, all the hype comes on these horses, and whether they're a super horse or not, they have to navigate 20 horses total. There's 19 other horses. This is coming out of California. So the Santa Anita, there was 5 horses.
I think
5 horses in that race. So my concern is, how's he going to come through? Because he's not an early speed horse. He's a late goer there. Could he be a super horse? I actually think he probably could be. Do I think the money's not going to be right on him in terms of betting him? You know, I think the odds are going to be, I mean, he's going off 3 to 1, I believe.
Yeah, that's where it's at, yeah.
It may be lower than that.
Could be.
So, because there's going to be a lot of people on that horse. I mean, all the experts are going to be picking for that horse to run up there. So, I really like the horse, but I'm just afraid for his trip. So, I've got him as my 3rd favorite horse to run. What do you have?
Well, I thank you. My number 3 is Sovereignty. Sovereignty is another Into Mischief son and out of a Bernardini mare. Bernardini won the Preakness the year that Barbaro went down, if you recall, and he's been a tremendous sire, and in recent years, his daughters are producing very well. Into Mischief out of a Bernardini mare. He won the Fountain of Youth and was second in the Florida Derby to Pan Street, who scratched out with a conjugal fracture earlier in the week. So Sovereignty's a really good Bill Mott trained horse. He won over the course in Kentucky in the street sense, I believe, back in November as a maiden. And so he's ran over the course and he beat 2 Derby contenders, Tiz-Tastic and Sandman in that race. Training awfully well, well-bred, well-trained. Junior Alvarado's back to ride. That's my number 3.
I have him as my number 2 horse.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. As you said, sired by Into Mischief, which he sires the 20 and 21 champions there at the Derby with Authentic and Mandaloon. I have his hat here. And what's it say there? The modern day Northern Dancer.
That is a very cool
From a
hat.
pedigree standpoint.
And are you going to go see Into Mischief one of these days?
I'm going next Friday.
You're
I'll be
going
a
to Spendthrift?
I'm going to Spendthrift
I'm
next
jealous.
Friday.
I am jealous. I'm
I'm
telling you.
ready for it, so I have my Authentic pullover.
And Authentic's there too, isn't
Yes,
it?
he
Yeah,
is.
that's
Wow.
really neat.
Yes, so
That's
I'm
great.
excited to see that horse in person, but honestly, he's been on a run that's not been had for a while.
Right,
Into
6-time
Mischief,
horse
so-
of the year in terms of total earnings.
Yes.
Into Mischief. So.
Yeah. What was he as a racehorse? How did he
You know
do?
what? He ran in what was called it's now called the Las Alamitas Derby, I believe. At the time, it was called the Fast Track or the Fast Net or something. He won it at a mile and 16th. I believe he got injured after that. But his best win was at a mile and 16th.
And the original
And it was that-
concerns were linked.
Oh yeah. He's got to be bred to your Empire Makers, which was Mandaloon, your Distorted Humor, your Bernardinis, which are these 2 horses on the bottom side. If you breed him to something short, you're going to get a sprint horse, which
Could
is
be a
maybe
miler,
great.
Could be a miler, and that's about it.
That's it, or a 6 or
Which-
7.
That's the concern with the number 1 horse, potentially. Is he just a miler?
That's true.
So, with the
Right.
horse of the year, the juvenile horse of the
Yeah,
year,
which we
is
might
he just...
get to him.
Yeah.
Do you, okay.
No.
Okay.
I didn't have him. Citizen Bull, but that's a speed horse. as you
He
said.
is, and he comes from the 1 hole. We're jumping around a little bit here, but Citizens Bull's the other Baffert horse and Into Mischief. comes from the one hole. We haven't had a Derby winner from the one hole since 1986 when Ferdinand shocked the world.
Yeah.
But my number two horse is in fact journalism. It's a lot of things that Travis said. He's ran five times. He's 4 of those were routes, which a route is a race over a mile, and he won those, which is pretty spectacular. He's a Curlin. He is a beautiful horse. Everybody talks about how wonderful he looks and his phenotype. And my concern also is the trip. He's been running in short fields, and his jockey, Umberto Rispoli, is a fantastic grass horse runner in California. This will be his first Kentucky Derby, I believe, with 20 horses. And what this thing really boils down to, in my opinion, is that these closers, this becomes a jockey race for 3 or 4 horses. And I'm going to say I think there's a better jockey to hit the go button at the right time on another horse, which I'll talk about in a minute. Travis, who's your number 1?
It's Sandman.
Sandman.
Yes.
Amazing.
Enter Sandman by Metallica. Very, very, very good song. And honestly, that's bringing a lot of hype to this horse.
What's going on with Metallica?
Well, they've come in on this horse also, and he's a TikTok sensation with the kid that he's a part owner through that, Griffin Johnson.
Okay.
He's a minority owner.
Is that right?
Through the West Point Thoroughbred situation.
Wow, okay.
There, kind of,
Right.
they can buy in on
Yeah,
like
yeah.
my racehorse
Right.
deal, and he's done that. And so, gray horse being sired by Tappet, so be a beautiful horse coming from the 17 post.
Never
which
won.
Right.
Never
There's
won.
a jinx.
Never
We're
won.
hoping to break this,
Yeah.
but there's also another situation that has never occurred, that this horse would break another trend there. And what's that?
Tappets have
Never
never won
won.
the Kentucky Derby.
Never won that.
And you know, go ahead.
Well, I think that he's Mark Cassie is the trainer, Jose Ortiz.
There you go.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Very, very good jockey. And this is a late closer. I mean, he wins the Arkansas Derby. He's a late closer. He's going to be coming.
Amen.
I think it helps that he's coming from the 17. Coming from out there, because that keeps him out of that inside traffic to begin with. He can just lay in, get closer to the rail
You
then,
bet.
and let Ortiz see where he can go with that. My only concern is the money's going to be driven down
It is.
on this horse.
He's now second favorite.
Yes.
At 5-1. I'll take 5-1
Which
on him all
surprises
day.
me, because I don't think if his connections were the way that they are with the TikTok money that's going to come in
Right.
on people that have never bet on horses before,
They're going.
Oh,
they're
run
going to come in
it.
on
That
this
makes
on
sense.
horse because of it. So I wish that they could play walkout songs like they do. We went to a Cub game recently, and they play out walkout songs, and I really wish
They could do
that they
that
could
for
play
horses.
this. I'm a little concerned the way he's schooling up coming out of the gates.
I am
They
too.
said the other day, when the others loaded the gates and he was left there, he did not respond well.
Not good.
Lost his mind there, and so that's my concern on the horse. But hopefully they have this one dialed in. And what's your thoughts?
Well, I have Sandman as number 1.
I think
too.
it's funny that we both
It's
settled on that
really
one.
crazy that worked out. And you know, I'm all about this being a jockey race at the end and at the top of the stretch. You're going to have a bundle of speed horses at the top of the stretch that are right there together. Somebody's going to have to maneuver their closer out. Luan Machado is riding Final Gambit in his first Derby. The jockey on journalism, Umberto Sparrow, I believe, is in his first Derby. No one in the game is better in traffic than Jose Ortiz. And I've seen him win a lot of races at the top of the stretch where he weaves and goes. Problem with Tappets, and certainly with this one, is they're a little goofy-headed. And I would have nothing to do with this horse if he were in the inside 5. And as Travis said, the 17's a good post for him. So he is, and again, if I get my way, I'll do really well if the 2 gray horses are coming down together.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's Final Gambit, number 3, as well as Sandman, who's number 17.
Yes.
So, Paul, that kind of brings us to the end. I guess I would offer a few other comments if you'd have time for that.
Sure. Is there any female jockeys?
Oh, that's a good question. You know,
Yes.
not this year. Rosie Napravnik ran maybe 10, 12 years ago, but we haven't had one. Who was the first female, Paul?
Her name was Diane Crump,
Right?
not any relation to Andy's girlfriend on Mayberry, who was Helen Crump.
Helen Crump.
But she was the first in 1940?
Somewhere along in
Yeah,
there.
1940s.
Right, I wasn't around then.
Yeah.
So I think we've gone long enough. That's kind of a wrap. Paul, can you wrap us up and we say
Yeah.
thank you?
Yeah, thank you for attending our podcast with Travis Perry. Thank you for your insight and wisdom. And Andy McVay, and this is signing off for today with Andy McVay, the 2025 Kentucky Derby. Thank you.
Thank you.